My name is Sukham Romin Singh. I have to give the presentations on the topic constraint satisfaction problem and its techniques, backtracking, forward checking. The aims of this presentation session is to introduce the student about the basic concepts on constraint satisfaction problem and its techniques, backtracking and forward checkings. We have to discuss all these topics and to familiarize the students with the important searching concepts used in this technique, default source. Instruction and objectives. This session is designed to give the basic objectives to the students to give the stable solutions about the constraint satisfiable problems, and it will describe the important applications of the constraint satisfaction problems. In this topic we have to use graphically, and we have to list out the merit and demerit characteristic of the searching techniques used in this problem, that is backtracking and forward checking. And after learning, the student will understand the concept of the constraint satisfaction problems and its different techniques, backtracking and forward checking. The topics to be covered in this presentation is: first one is constraint satisfaction problem, the second one is the backtracking, the third one is forward checking. All these three concepts will be discussed in these presentations. First, let us start constraint satisfaction problems with definitions. Constraint satisfaction problem is the one problem which will give one stable solution after satisfying some conditions. Before starting, let us try to understand what is meant by the state. The state is the step or the point where one value is assigned to a variable. The probable set of the values to be assigned to the variable is called a domain. The state is defined by the variables xi with the values from the domain. State is the one step or the process during which one value from the domain di is assigned to any one of the variable xi. At this point, we can define it is a state. Gone state is the set of the constants satisfying the allowable combinations of values of the subset of the variables. It means that we have to test at last to give the stable solution. That solution when satisfied all the probable conditions, and it will give some favorable or stable answers or solutions. Last test to give the stable solution is called gone test. Let us move to the next slide. And before continuing in depth, let us try to understand some of the terms used in these problems. First one is the complete assignment. We use some variables and some values. If all the values without any repetitions are assigned to each and every variables, and such type of the assignment or copying the value to the variables is called complete assignment. Any variable has a value, at least one variable must have at least one value and no empty variables. Every variable must have at least one variable. Such type of the assignment is called complete assignment. The next one is the partial assignment. There are two groups of the variables. some variables has at least one variables and some other variable does not have any values. That is, some variable have empty values. Such type of the assignments are called partial assignments. The third one is the consistent assignments. The assignment does not violate any constraints. It means in this assignment there is no any violations of the constraints. There is no assignment which violates the conditions. Next is the solution. A solution is nothing but it is a one answer which satisfies the problems and which gives the answer for the problems, and it is complete as well as consistent assignment. The assignment without any violation which satisfied all the conditions, such type of the assignment is already defined as a consistent assignment. The one solution is a stable solution, or simply one solution which must be complete. It means that every variable must have at least one variable, and at the time all the conditions related to the problems must be satisfied. At this time we will get a favorable answer. That favorable answer is called a solution to that problem. As solutions may have to maximize an objective functions. And let us move to the next slide. There are some cases, and we can consider constraint satisfaction problem as a special case of the such problems. This is one special such problems. In these problems, all the conditions must be satisfied. Domain can be discrete or continuous. All the values to be assigned to any of the variable can be discrete or continuous. The order in which the constraints are satisfied is immaterial. The order of the assignment, the order of the satisfying all the variables with values are immaterial. It means that order can be exchanged. The word commutative is nothing but it is the exchange of the order of the assignments. The order in which the variables and value are selected is immaterial. In these problems, the assignments and the order of the satisfying the conditions is immaterial. It is not important. That is why this condition is flexible. And let us move to the next presentations slide. Constraint satisfaction problem. A constraint satisfaction problem can be defined with a formal definitions with set of the variables xi, and variable is nothing but it is the container which can store any values. A domain of the values for which the variable vi. Vi is nothing but it is the value which can be stored in any of the variables. The probable set of the values which can be used, which can be stored in any of the variables, this set is called domain. And we will understand all these topics in the next examples. The set of the constraints between the variables or a set of the conditions. All these three parameters will define or will give the formal definitions of the constraint satisfaction problems. And next is the solutions. Assignment of a value to each variable that satisfied constraints, or all the conditions must be satisfied by assigning the values to the variables. That is the solution. Solution is nothing but it is answer which give you some favorable statement which satisfied all the conditions of the assignment of the values to the corresponding variables. Now let us move to the next